Alright guys, hello. Oh, so yeah, let me move some things out of the way because yeah, we don't want the to show up. This is fine. I need you. Oh, just look it up. So today I want to continue with my efforts on making distributed authority working, and let's see how far we can get with that intro. Yeah, so the goal here. Here. So yesterday, actually, well, CICD. I'm not gonna build that now because that's already it's working. It's actually crashing randomly because the GitHub runners are, I think, running out of memory. So it's weird thing that is happening. Like if you look here. It doesn't really tell me what happens, which sucks. It just tells us the host runner, GitHub Actions, 21 lost communication with the server, anything in your workflow that terminates the runner, starves it for memory or blocks its network access can cause this error. But I'm not doing anything that can cause this error, so yeah, like if you look at the code, this is if you look at the code, the only thing I'm doing is this. I'm actually limiting the Docker and memory to the default runners of Unity. So yeah, so I don't really know why that's happening. It's actually getting quite hot here. Optimize the run configuration to save some time. Yeah, but it's a closed box. How do I even do that? Like, sorry, I'm gonna turn the heater down because it's
and I did the last one.
I missed it. I missed Jotson. Jotson was here for. How long was his stream? Is he live? No, it's not live. He was just live. Ah, no, he streamed for 4 hours. I'm the one that missed
it. What's up, Head? Thank you very much for the follow. I appreciate it.
Oh, I thought it was me. I thought I was getting a follower, but actually it's another streamer that I'm Anyway, let's forget about this for now. The thing that I want to work on. Let me put this back. I'm also gonna put this back. I wanna work on this, but I also wanna work on a couple of bugs that I had. So, like for example, and also one thing that I wanna. Don't need you. Don't need you. One thing that I want to work on is, yeah, I actually want to work on this also, this stuff right here. So session management. You can do session management to keep data when player disconnects and accurately reassign player to the player when they reconnect. I want to take a look at that because the thing is, I mean, what I want to do is this, right? Dang it. But what I want to do is that, like, okay, so when the player yeah, so yeah, the thing is, what I ideally want is that instead of the player, when the player clicks play, it opens this guy, but instead of doing this, I want to list player clicks play, and when this happens, right, I want to list available sessions. I don't know if that's yeah, list available sessions. Cool. And then here the player can select a session or the player can create a new session. Okay. The player can play, clicks play, list available sessions, and then this is what creates or joins a session. So this is done. This is done. And this is not done. So I want to be able to list a session. All right, so let me list available sessions for distributed authority. That's my wife.
Explain to me.
Oh, there's 2 viewers now.
Explain what you're doing. When people ask me what my husband does, usually I say I don't know. Could be a drug dealer, could be an IT, could be everything. Because I don't understand a thing. Ok, bye.
Bye. Deixa aqui, vai com a mamãe. Yep. All right. So we're back. So I want to list the available sessions for the CPU authority. Yeah, because I want to do this and then list. Yeah, this code is like somewhat ready because I mean this code already exists, doesn't matter this because we're just gonna pass the name of the session in here and it's the same. The only thing that we need is some type of, first of all, we need to figure out how to list available sessions. Second, we need to figure out how to, and then we need to create some sort of UI. And then we need to create some sort of UI so the player can see and okay. But before that, I actually had a bug. So if I create a session here, okay. So the session is created right here. Right, cool. And then if I join this guy, this is good place for you. Okay, so now I'm back here. And I have 1 player. Cool. So now I'm just gonna try to join. Now I have 2 players here. That's good. Oh, I got a little bit of headache. And okay, it's still working. Yeah, this is what was happening. We need to figure out why is this happening. So now you can see that if I shoot, the effect goes off, but on spawn received, but the network object was not received within the timeout of 10 seconds. Okay, what happened was that the key was not found. And this was the second, but this only happened. Okay, so we need this and this and this. Yeah, this is interesting because I was. Oh, okay. Yeah, do you guys see that there's nothing? Okay, so we need to figure that out. So let's try again. It's gonna fail. Oh, it didn't. Interesting. All right, so if you look at the scene now, you can see that I have a bunch of cannon and FX explosion and also a couple of dark. These are pool, and the network object pool is here. If I look at the code for this guy, I do have a singleton so here, but I do not have the not distra mid-April. Yeah, let me just answer my. Yeah, my boss is sending me a message. Yeah, so what's happening here is that this guy, this is singleton, and but I do have this guy is here, and like. But what's going on here is okay. I'm just gonna let's see what happens when I connect to this with this other guy. The second one also has this and has these guys. I'm just gonna connect again with this, and I still had the connected so fast that I still had the explosion. So this is the new one, and you can see that I do not have the pool in here, but I don't have the object over there. That's why it's not shooting. Let's figure it out why. So on awake I did this. On network spawn I'm doing this. Register prefab internal. On network despawn, on validate, okay, yeah, get network object. But the thing that is that's why I'm getting this error, because it's trying to get but it's not finding anything in here with this. Yeah, the thing is that for the second one, he is when he spawns again. Okay, when he spawns again, he's not calling this guy again. and that's what's happening. You see on network spawn, and we'll see this over here. Yeah, this might get an error here. Oh no, it's still okay. That's good. All right. Network pool spawn. Okay, so this is going to work. Great. So now I need to do this guy. Okay, so this guy is going to go back, and here you can see. Let's see if on this guy. Ah, wait. When that guy left, he took the network's object with it. Why? He took the network object with it. And now I got a network object pool again, but if we filter out, I only printed the first time I joined in here, and in here I never printed. So it's only when the session only when the session owner. Yeah, but why? I didn't know. See, I didn't know this is how it was supposed to work. So, because I have this guy. I have it over here, and distributable. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, if we take a look at the documentation for ownership, none. Ownership of this network object is considered static and can be distributed, requested, transfer. A player would have this, for example. Distributed ownership of this object is automatically distributed when the client joins or leaves. Yeah, but I set ownership lock, check authority. Yeah, but this. Okay, so yeah, so I see if we allow owner to parent, do not destroy with owner. I want to tell my boss about a couple of cities. So he'll be in Paris or Paris. So yeah, so there's Brussels. Bruges and Ghent. All right, so kind of going back here. Okay. Sorry, so our test. So, okay, this guy is the owner. So if I kill this guy, also has a network object. So, okay. So now the object pool is still here, and I can still shoot. And now I'm gonna connect again. And I connected. I picked up the 2 players. I can still shoot with this guy. And this guy picked up the network object pool. If I go here, I can't really, it doesn't really have a shape or anything, this guy. I just wanted to know who actually owns this owner object ID 2. So object ID 2 is owning, which is this guy is owning. So that means that this guy is owning. So then I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill the owner. And now I'm gonna take a look at it again. Owner 3. You see how it transferred? So now the owner is 3, and hopefully I can still shoot. Yes. So now, all right. So, so this is interesting. Yeah. So now if we look at now I have 4. But 3 still owns this guy. So this is interesting because what have we learned here, right? So because this because this object, although it was already part of the scene, right, had distributable ownership. That means that whenever a player was spawned or a new player was spawned, it's distributed among all the players, right? So if the owner dies, this would be destroyed with it. So since we check this now, don't destroy with owner, this persists and this gets redistributed to another one. So this is a really important configuration, because you would probably want that checked for most things in your level, like let's say coins and whatnot, if they're distributable. Because if the player that owns that object gets despawned or dies or whatever, that object would get destroyed, and that's what was happening here, right? So that's really good stuff. So let's write that down. Where did I? Okay, so yeah. So if a network object has ownership set to distributable, no, that's not how I write, distributable, and the owner gets despawned, the network object would get destroyed with it. If you do not want that to happen, you need to check the option that says don't destroy with owner. Don't destroy with owner, because in this case what will happen if you check this box don't destroy with owner and the ownership is set to distributable, that means that when the owner dies, this is going to get distributed to another player, and we just saw that happening. So that's really cool. That's actually really cool. So that's that. So I have so many logs on this game that I need to clean it up later, but there will be a time for that. I changed this, I changed this, I changed this. Yeah, okay. Git add, git commit. Fixed bug where network object pool was getting destroyed if session owner died. Cool. Let's get that dopamine drop, and this is a bug actually. So Okay, so this is taken care of. So now I want to create I want to be able to go back to the menu, to the main menu. So I don't want anything fancy. I don't need anything fancy here. We're just gonna create some sort of yeah, we don't need to see you now. Yeah, this is our yeah, there you go. So I guess what we want here is let's do a little bit of blending, right? So here I'm gonna create this later, but first, yeah, did I add that to my list? Yeah, I did. So, but let's take care of this one first. Add a back to main menu during game time. Okay, so first thing that we need to do is we need an input. So let's add an input for that. Let's add an input. By the way, feel free to join my Discord. All good. All right. So yeah. So first we need an input that's gonna come from the player. We have shoot and reload. Let's just add another one here. What are we gonna call this? Because we can use this for other stuff also. Getting a message from work. I'll answer in a bit. So let's think about the name of this guy. So this basically, can we call it interact? No. I'm just gonna call it options. Whatever. Right, options. And I'm just gonna. It's a button type. Yes, button. And for now, I'm just gonna add to. Stardew Valley has E or escape. I'm gonna add E in here. E is a good one. Save. Let it compile. While it does that, I'm just gonna. That's my buddy over here. Did you work with this repo? let's go back. Go back. Yeah. Okay, so we have the options. That's good. So now let's just think just quickly here. We don't need much. Let's just do it here. So yeah, we have the game screen over here. Right. What I want is that when the player clicks, game scene. When the player clicks, this background. No. How do I do the? No, but I don't want it. Ah, there you go. Yeah. Then what I want to do is that I wanted to shade it out, and then I want to create an options here in the middle, which it could be just this, and then here we would just say options, and then in here we could have another button, say back to main menu, and resume game. Yeah, so this is kind of what we want to do, right? So in here, this is fine here. All right, so first let's create this. Let's create this UI. Why are you still here? Oh, okay. Keyframe interval is too high. Both streams are complaining about it. How do I fix that? So, here let's create a game menu UI, UI, and then we're gonna do a panel. Oh yeah, a panel also. This is fine. Background panel. Oh yeah. Actually found this Twitch channel the other day, which I thought was great. The guy is doing a pretty cool game on. All right, background. So then, okay, and maybe I'll do this, a little bit of this. Cool. Now, background panels, and then here I would add another panel, which should be the menu panel, which would stick to the middle, and yeah, that's fine. Here. Like I need to. Like I could create a. So this was 600 by Oh yeah, no, this. Mm. Yeah, this is what I wanted. In-game menu panel. I do have something for sprites over here. And this is fine. It doesn't need to be perfect. That's okay. I just want something we can replace later. Alright, so this looks okay. here. Let's just add a UI Text Mesh Pro. Title. Okay. So game UI. So let's set a script to this guy. All right, so the good thing about the architecture that we're using here is that I already created some stuff that we can use in here. So we do have this managers. We do have this guy. This guy has return to main menu press. I'm just gonna add another action in here, which is going to be internal static and also on game menu close. Let's do that. And on here, cool. Now we can go to the player actions. Player action, okay. On options. If it's not open, calls close. It's open. Great. Okay, so this guy is good. So that means that here private void awake. I need this two guys. I'll destroy. Yes. And on start, I need to set to off. La, 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 la. So this is what it would look like in the game. Great. Let's. You guys ready to test this? Let's test this. Couldn't work in a casual cooperative open world RPG called Swords and Magics and stuff. It's free quite often. Stop by and check it out.
Now I have a key. Oh, this requires a key. We'll use the key. Oh, cool. I got a dagger. So now my dagger will increase my combat score from a d4 to a d6, and I get +1 damage. So now I have a +2 damage. I can unequip things and see. My bonus did not come off. Damn it. And I lost my... What? I lost my helmet too. Guys. Alright, so I found some bugs. I swear I tested this like 100 times yesterday and it worked just fine. Anyway, we can fight this guy now. You roll a 3 plus a 2. It's a 5, so we beat him. How did I lose my helmet though? Alright, well we have bugs to fix. So we have 2 bugs. One is when you unequip things, it doesn't take the bonus off. Let me go write that down.
Okay. Clicking.
And
E keyboard.
yeah, confusing bugs. I don't know. Anyway, that's the gameplay. So then, I guess the most important thing is at the top here, there's gonna be a box with like a bunch of items in it. So in this case, in this level, it'll probably be like, I mean, this level's gonna be totally rewritten. This is just like my test level. So like.
Ah, dude, I didn't add the callback. Yes. Sorry, guys. I want to add like a spinning thing to the connecting, because just connecting it doesn't really. I want to add like, how do I make a spinning? Yeah, while I'm doing that, I do want to so the thing that when I press it, maybe here I can just call this not open and close, but like just on game menu pressed, and I don't need this. I don't need you. Pressed. But then in here I'm pressed. Game menu pressed, but then I can just pass a bool. Is quit. That's the best name. Yeah, I mean, so then in here, if it's open, I would pass I better just give a better name instead of it's open. Yeah, better is open, right? Is open is better, because then I also have a is open over here. And I also have is open over here, and then in here. So if this guy is open, let's start with the first case. So if it's not open, that means it's closed. Then I call this guy. Then I actually set it true, and then in here I just pass is open, and here the same. So close the menu, false is open. Cool. So now here yeah, but then in here serialized field, private button, resume button. Main menu button. Okay, let's see. Let's see if this works. No, 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 no. Huh? All right. What's going on here? So here. Ano, e aqui foi on quit. Não. Nossa, mas por que eu adicionei isso aqui? Não, filha. Aqui. Wait, why was that on? No. Wait, you're supposed to be off. Wait, when you open game object.
Do I regret spending time on it so much time after EA? There's a lot of things I regret with Swords and Magic. The thing is, when I sit down and play the game, and I like try to like I just compare like where the game is now compared to where it was when I launched it, when we first launched it in early access, I don't regret most of that. There are some things like adding companions I regret, adding like promising things like dungeons and skill trees, like I regret doing those things. There's a lot of stuff in the game where I wish I would have thought through more before I decided to do it. I don't know if I regret early access because I honestly I think the game would have flopped. First of all, we couldn't have afforded to like keep working on the game for another year with Kickstarter money. It just wasn't enough money. Like if you take the Kickstarter money and you split it up, like based on like how much money I had to pay myself back to like cover all the time I'd spent working on the game and all the time we were going to working on the game to finish it, we only made like I think I don't remember how much. I can't say how much Moz made, but it was less than I did. And I think I only brought in like 25 or 30 from the, maybe not even that much. I think it was like 20, 25.
$25
the Kickstarter money into my own pocket, and that put me, if you like divide it out from like when I started making the game to when early access launched, that made me like $500 a month. Like it wasn't enough money to like even justify any of that time, right? So we had to launch the game because we couldn't like afford to like keep living and working on the game if we didn't do early access. So early access did make us enough money to keep making the game and bring it to where it is right now. So I don't regret that. But going back and looking at it again, I wish I would have kept the scope way smaller. I wish we would have found a more interesting mechanic that was like repetitive, that like would have made a better, tighter game loop that didn't require having to go explore the entire world, more and more content for each zone to make it more interesting. Though I do love the mechanics or the game loop of the game, and I think it's like exactly what I wanted to make. It's like very much a dream game of mine. I wish I would have found something more like the original single player game had this cool bandit camp system where like each bandit camp would like start as like a campfire and like a tent, right? And you have like one bandit there. And then if you left it alone for a day, the next day it would have like 2 tents and 2 bandits. And the next day they'd have like a little like some fencing around it, or like I don't know what it was, like a little watchtower or something they'd built up. And then if you like the longer you left it,
yeah. So we need this guy.
like
This.
you could like storm the fort and like 20 bandits there or whatever, fight the bandit leader boss that would spawn, and then loot all the chests and stuff, and you get a bunch of loot. I wish we would have kind of like focused in on something more like that, where like the world around you didn't have to be massive and huge to go explore all these different like zones and stuff. It would have just been like ever changing, right? So you would have like one like smaller zone, like maybe like the size of Azure or just Azure itself, or just farmlands or something, and then you would have like every day you would have gone out and something new would have been there to go explore and do, because it would have just been a bunch of procedural content that just kept popping up and like changing over time. Like I wish we would have focused more on that and less on like traditional like Skyrim style like open world game, because it just was so much harder to develop that, and it just cost so much time and energy and money to do. So yeah, I don't know if I regret it. There's just a lot of little things I do regret about it, but honestly, like I'm not complaining too much here, because like Swords and Magic brought me from like this kid who like dreamed of making games and was like kind of like an idea guy for so long, and then I went to school and that helped like push me along a lot, and then suddenly it was like Swords and Magic became like the thing that I needed to like finally get out there and actually like launch a game and actually like make money and like do this full time.
Yeah, if you just joined,
So
I'm actually
I
watching
absolutely
this
love
guy.
Swords and Magic for that, and I'm so glad that I was able to like push through and actually launch it. I just wish that I would have had some better foresight with Swords and Magic. But I was very young and naive when it launched. I was 26 when we started it. No, 29.
Look at this.
28, 29 when I started Swords and Magic.
All right. So this.
And I'd be 29. I was 29 when we started it, and I just didn't know enough about GameDev at the time. I still don't know a lot about game dev. Polyglot. Polyglot? Is that right?
Yeah, so that's okay. So
Also, solo dev is tough. Yeah, you've had help along the way, but I guess it, unless it blew up, it was destined to be a small project. Yeah, that is another thing. It's sort of like, it was almost like inevitable, right? Like I should have known all along. There's like a low quality. I have the lowest quality on right now, so there's a lot of like weird blurring going on with the characters jumping around. But it doesn't look like that in a packaged game with your quality up higher. So this is a game called Seeking Adventure. It's kind of like a mix between like a point and click adventure like RPG. I don't know, not that. It's like a mix between Hidden Folks and like D&D, I guess. So you click on things and you find stuff. You have an inventory and some stats down here. I have a bunch of junk because there's no way to delete like remove items yet. So I've just been loading up more and more junk on the save file. And then you can hover over NPCs. Like this guy wants 2 carrots and he'll give me one of his boar tusks, looks like. So I click that. Ta-da, I've done that quest. I haven't set these guys up to be like non-repeatable yet. They're like repeatable by default, I guess, which I need to fix. And now I have this boar tusk. So this, like, I can equip this now, and it changes my combat roll from a D4 to a D6, and I get +1 combat score. So now when I fight something like this guy down here, I roll a D6 instead of a D4. If I unequip this, I do a D4. Hey, look, my number didn't change, or did change that time. Interesting. I wonder what happened there. Anyway, so I roll a d6 to fight him, and then I get a +1 on the roll. So I do +2, +1. Oh, it wasn't enough to break the 3, so... Oh, it was enough, sorry. 2 + 1 was enough to do damage, so I dealt some damage to him. Need some sound effects. Roll again. 3 + 1 is 4. Cool. 1 + 1
It's
not
funny.
enough, so I took damage. And
funny thing is that I'm not getting the error where I'm trying to connect the same session again now, but whatever.
4, got him. Cool. Defeated him. He dropped a key. Grab the key. We'll open the chest. Oh, I already opened this chest in the save file. So yeah, but I got some armor from it. So
Now
the armor,
that this is
I get my
done,
max health. I now have a D6.
not.
my stamina for some reason.
Uh,
Now we can go up here to this bear, right? He's a challenge too, but he's not.
now that
combat,
this is
he's
done,
strength.
actually.
So he wants a 4 in strength, but my strength is only a +1, so I'd have to roll a 3 to defeat him. So I should go get something else that gives me strength first.
Add a shadow to this
Which
guy.
I thought I did. Oh, this gives me a +1 strength. Yeah, that's what I was intending. We're gonna have to try a couple times. 3 + 1, we got him. So we're at 1 health right now. But if you die, because it's such a casual game, it doesn't matter. All it does is when you're dead, you can't perform challenges anymore. So if I go back out and go to this level, and I try to challenge this
Right,
girl.
so what happened here? Get
So she beat me,
status.
and now I'm nothing, or I'm a 0, so I just can't challenge anymore. It just shakes my heart.
Every time I'm gonna commit something like to
So it's just sort of like prevents you from
what
challenging.
I
until you
actually
feel it. So I
have.
just, grab some apples, and I can eat those, or take a health potion. And now I have health, and now I can challenge her again. But I can't beat her because I get
What
a
I changed,
+0 to my
so
charisma. So I can only roll a 4 + 0 is not a
This
4,
input
so I need
actions
to beat her.
was me, and this
So I can
added
equip
this
a cape
guy.
here, which gives me +2 to my charisma, and now I get a 2 + 2 is 4, not quite.
I added this guy
3
completely.
+ 2, 5. That
Fine.
now I got.
Then
So the game loop here is there's going to be a list of goals at the top of the screen for each level, and then as you find those things, like maybe this one has like manure. So like if I give this guy a carrot, he'll give me manure, so that'll like check off one of the goals. Like cool, I found that thing I was looking for. And then maybe another one's like a bone. Like this guy
oh, I
wants a
still
bone,
need to
so I
stop the
can find
player.
that bone somehow. And
Yeah,
then
I still
check
need to
off the
stop the
bone. And then
player
each one of those I have checked off, I get a crystal for. That's what this crystal thing is here.
movement.
And then when I go back to the main map here,
That's why I
all these
added
levels
that
will be
thing up
locked
there. So
behind
then
crystals.
now,
So if I complete this level, for example,
Okay,
all
so
5 of them, I'll have 5 crystals. Complete this one, I'll have 5
movement.
crystals. But maybe there's another one that's locked,
Just
locked
gonna.
that only
Just the
requires,
easiest way would
6
be like
crystals,
just.
right? So I just have to complete like some of each of these levels to get to the next level.
Yeah, I could just
So
do
it's just
this.
gonna be like a way to this is the game. I like the art style. Saw you were working on it yesterday and caught my eye. Cool. That's a good thing. Yeah, it's gonna be a lot cheaper than Swords and Magic. The goal right now is $8, but it will go down if I feel like we don't have enough content. The vision right now in my head will be worth $8. So we'll see how that goes. It's very casual, super chill, very simple. It's obviously very easy. There's really no challenge to it. You're just kind of just clicking through. It's just gonna be very zen. Got to figure out a good soundtrack for it. We just made
I think this should do it.
For the start of the game music. We'll see how much that actually gets us, and then we'll put up another goal if we need more. Hardworking or hardly working? Both. Right now I'm hardly working, but I'm working hard at that. We'll be doing more work in a second. I just found some more bugs, so we get to go work on fixing bugs now. An end goal for Swords and Magic and stuff is the port to Switch. I think that was part of the fundraising for it. Yeah, so Brandon, that's like 99.9% off the table now. And I will tell you why. Is it on Steam yet? So I have the Steam page set up, and I have applied, or I've submitted, and I'm waiting for it. I got denied yesterday because I didn't have enough detail in the About Me section, apparently, or about this game section. Which makes me kind of mad because I was like copying another Steam page that did really well, and I really liked how basic it was, and so I like copied theirs, and then I got denied, and I'm like, this game made hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like, how did I get denied? But I got denied, so I added more information, put some GIFs in there and things like that, which I was planning on doing anyway, but I hadn't got around to yet.
So git commit. Okay. Stopped player movement when game menu is open. Cool. Okay, now that this is done, we have this. Now we just need to when we click there, we actually already have this. I have this here, return to main menu. Just not sure if so on service I'm already using this. So I'm already calling leave sessions. Leave session, it does this stuff. And then it exits. And then all I need to do actually, to be honest, is just this. No. Game. Game. Play. Event. Handler. Main menu pressed. There we go. If I do this, I should go back to the main menu and because in here, yeah, I am doing this, I'm logging out, so it should work. Then we can focus on listing the sessions, which is going to be an interesting problem. Yeah. Now if we start again, am I gonna join the same session, create a new one? That's the question. Create a new session. Great. Awesome. So we got this done. Yes. Now we can work on this. It's gonna add p1 to this. And get status. Get commit. Oh. Get commit. There we go. Cool. So now it's the issue, right? So now it's the problem that we're waiting for. So this is great. And we did a little bit of Figma, which was awesome. Right? I love Figma. Now we need to work on this. So the player clicks play. We need to look for available sessions. So when a player that is on it clicks play and it calls this stuff, which is this. This here, and in here it goes. This is where the whole process starts. So now I don't even know if that's possible yet, but let's look at it. So, so what do we have here? So we have this guy. We have this guy. It's the same basically. Okay. Now that I cleaned that up, let's take a look at this stuff. So build a session with network for game objects. Great, enjoying your first session. Match joining a session. The join code. Browse a session in a list. This is query sessions async. This is what I want. Resource includes all non-full public session they can join. Public properties of the session such as its name. You can query to discover you can use queries to discover a session as long as it's private session. A session ID is not the same as its full equivalent. Is it because yeah. Let's see. So signing in. Could be because I'm not signed in yet. Let's see. Okay. Oh, I got some results. Probably there were no sessions yet. So that means that if I join with this guy, I should actually see more stuff. Okay, so this is interesting. So I just need to authenticate. So that means that if I authenticate when the guy press play instead of when he press start, yeah, so then sessions 0, okay, makes sense. But then this guy, if I join this guy, sessions 1. Yay! All right, so let me so we can change this a little bit. So what's happening here is on start button pressed. Okay, but then yeah, but the thing is that do I want to do that on like for example here? could have this. Sessions panel on the other side. Awesome list. I have so many assets, so that sometimes I have stuff that are going on. Yeah, so I don't have to think about it too much of this stuff. Unity list view. Scrolling list using layouts 24 years ago. This is exactly what I want.
Using the built-in Unity layout groups, I'm going to show you how to make a scrolling list like this that's contained within the confines of your image, and you can set this up in just a few minutes. I mean, it's not that exciting, but this is really useful stuff that you'll use in all your projects. Alright, so we have this empty Unity project. I'm doing a 2D project, but if you're on 3D, no worries. You can just select this 2D button at the top. Pretty much all UI elements are considered 2D, so it's okay to work in that. And first thing we want to do is go to our hierarchy and right-click and create a new canvas. In Unity, your UI elements won't display without a canvas. Just like painting, you need something to paint on. This is where we're going to paint our UI elements. I'm going to leave render mode as screen space overlay, and for UI scale mode, I'll change that to scale with screen size. And I'll change the resolution to 1920 by 1080 for HD. Let's right click on this canvas and go to UI and create a panel. You'll notice it fills the entire canvas by default. So using this rect tool, or you can also use the hotkey T, I'm just gonna drag the panel in. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just kind of making a list background for now. All right, so this is good enough for me. It just gives us a little bit of an area to work within. I'm gonna call this scrollable list. And before we start adding any components,
here. Okay. Scrollable list. Great.
components, there's two things I'm going to do. I'm going to right click on this and go to UI and select Button Text Mesh Pro. You could also use the regular button. Text Mesh Pro just gives you better text options though. And then I'll import Text Mesh Pro's essentials. And I'll select this button, and again, using the rect tool, I'm just going to drag it up a little bit. So my approach to it is I like to set up the buttons beforehand. You can have the layout group, which we'll eventually use in a second here, determine the width and size of your button.
I'll be right back.
But I like to have a little more control over it, so I set it up beforehand. So I'll just have it come in a little bit from the edges. So we have our list, and we have our button. Nothing else is on them. Let's right click on our list one more time and go to UI. And this time we'll pick an image, which is just this white box. Doesn't matter what it looks like. This is going to be what I call the grid content. And why we set it up this way is so that we can scroll later on easily. So first thing we want to put on this grid content is the content size fitter. So you can go to add component and type content and content size fitter. There's two options, horizontal fit and vertical fit. And for vertical fit, we want to set this to preferred because we just spent that time to set up this nice button. And I'm also going to change the anchor of this grid content. So I'm going to click on this box, I'm going to hold Alt, and I'll select this top right one to stretch it. Going back, to our button, I'm going to add component and type in layout element. And there's a couple options here. Basically, there's going to be a group, right? And the group's going to have a bunch of settings, but this layout element says this is going to be a part of that group, and you can specify individual settings here. So I'm going to, for all the buttons, toggle preferred height so that we keep the height we set up before, and I'll also toggle flexible width because I want it to match the width of whatever this grid element's going to have. And with that, we can pretty much just drop our the width of whatever this grid element's going to have. And with that, we can pretty much just drop our button down onto the grid content. On our grid content, we can add our grouping now that I just mentioned. And the reason I wait till the end to add the group is because when you start trying to change the size of the elements in your group, it can kind of be a pain. So if you do it at the end, you can configure it first and then just create the group. Anyway, so I'll add a component on our grid again, and this time we'll type in vertical layout group. And you'll see it kind of shifts around. It's okay. The vertical layout group has a bunch of options here like padding and spacing. And a couple check boxes. We want to uncheck the child force expand because we want the child to have its existing setup that we did before. And I'm going to change the child alignment from upper left to upper center, just so it's nice and centered. Cool, so what happens, so it's, and I'm going to change Change the child alignment from upper left to upper center, just so it's nice and centered. Cool, so what happens now? Back to our button, I'm going to add component and type in layout. Going back to content and layout group pro. You could also use the regular button. Text Mesh Pro just gives you better text options though. And then I'll import Text Mesh Pro's essentials, and I'll select this button, and again using the rect tool, I'm just going to drag it up a little bit. So my approach to it is I like to set up the buttons beforehand. You can have the layout group, which we'll eventually use in a second here, determine the width and size of your buttons, but I like to have a little more control over it, so I set it up beforehand. So I'll just have it come in a little bit from the edges. So we have our list, and we have our button. Nothing else is on them. Let's right click on our list one more time, and go to UI, and this time we'll pick an image, which is just this white box. Doesn't matter what it looks like. This is going to be what I call the grid content. And why we set it up this way is so that we can scroll later on easily. So first thing we want to put on this grid content is the content size fitter. So you can go to add component and type content and content size fitter. There's two options, horizontal fit and vertical fit. And for vertical fit, we want to set this to preferred because we just spent that time to set up this nice button. And I'm also going to change the anchor of this grid content. So I'm going to click on this box, I'm going to hold Alt, and I'll select this top right one to stretch it. Going back to our button, and I'll select this top right one. To stretch it. Going back to our button, I'm going to add component and type in layout element. And there's a couple options here. Basically, there's going to be a group, right? And the group's going to have a bunch of settings. But this layout element says this is going to be a part of that group, and you can specify individual settings here. So I'm going to, for all the buttons, toggle preferred height so that we keep the height we set up before. And I'll also toggle flexible width because I want it to match the width of whatever this grid element's going to have. And with that, we can pretty much just drop our button down onto the grid content. On our grid content, we can add our grouping now that I just mentioned. And the reason I wait till the end to add the group is because when you start trying to change the size of the elements in your group, it can kind of be a pain. So if you do it at the end, you can configure it first and then just create the group. Anyway, so I'll add a component on our grid again, and this time we'll type in vertical layout group. And you'll see it kind of shifts around. It's okay. The vertical layout group has a bunch of options here like padding and spacing. And a couple check boxes. We want to uncheck the child force expand because we want the child to have its existing setup that we did before. And I'm going to change the child alignment from upper left to upper center, just so it's nice and centered. Cool, so what happens now is you can select your button and press Control D to duplicate. And you can actually do this multiple times. And you'll notice that it starts to fill up, obviously, but it's kind of generating these buttons from the center outward, whereas I would like this to generate from the top down. In order to do that, let's change the anchor point of our grid content. So I'm going to click on this and hold the anchor point of our grid content. So I'm going to click on this and hold Alt, and you'll see the icons change, and I'll click the top center one. And so you'll notice the button moves. But we're still not done, because if we keep going, now it's just doing the same thing, but higher up. Make sure on grid content in your rect transform component, the pivot has the Y value set to 1. That's very important. Because now, when you start duplicating buttons, you'll notice they go. go from top down, which is great. This is starting to come together. But there definitely is not a lot of room in between these, so we can go back to our grid content, and under vertical layout group, you can kind of play around with the spacing here. So you can actually click to the left of the field and then hold, and you can kind of drag, and you'll see it starts increasing the value. You can go left and right to increase and decrease, but I'll just give it a little bit of spacing. That looks a little better. And I'll actually change the background color of this just to like half opacity, so it kind of looks a little more distinguished. Last thing you can kind of do with this vertical layout group is change the padding. So you'll notice it's very tight at the top here. So at the top we could add, I'm not sure, maybe like 20. And I'll do the same thing at the bottom, 20. Now when we play the game, we have a vertical list of buttons, and we could program each one of these buttons with the non-click function, but it's definitely expanding off the screen. So we want to be able to stop that and then be able to scroll between it, which is our next task. So on the parent to the grid content, the scrollable list, which is our highest level object, we can add a new component of a mask, and you'll immediately tell that it starts to cut it off now. We can then add one more component called a scroll rect, and this is what's gonna enable us to be able to scroll through this list. So this is where it's important. You'll notice the first field it requires is a content rect transform. This is why I set it up with the grid content object being a child. We can just take grid content and drag that in. And so now when we play, we can actually click in the list and drag through. And we can also scroll pretty slowly. But you'll notice if we click and drag to the sides, it's going all over the place, like horizontally. And we want to restrict that, because we just want to be able to go up and down. This is as easy as going into our scroll rect and unchecking horizontal. I'll also change the movement type to clamped, so it's a little more uniform. And we'll change scroll sensitivity to something like 50. Scroll sensitivity is for your mouse wheel scrolling. So now we can click, and even if I go left and right, it's only moving up and down, and I can scroll with the mouse wheel.
This is so useful. I'm gonna save this. Seriously. Notes. Tutorials.
But as is, it's kind of hard to tell where you're at in relation to the entire list, so we should add some sort of scroll bar to help indicate that. Outside of our scrollable list, because of the mask, let's right click on our canvas and go to UI and select scroll bar. I'll drag it to the side, and if you scroll down, there should be a scroll bar component. There's a direction property. We want to change it from left right to bottom to top, which might seem counterintuitive, but the directions are actually what's counterintuitive. And then using our rect tools that we've been using this whole time, I'm just going to drag this out to be the length of the list. And I'll make it a little wide just so we can see what's happening. But that's pretty much it. Then you can just click on your scrollable list and drag in the scroll bar into your vertical scroll bar. And that's it. Now as you scroll, the scroll bar will update, and you can also grab this handle and move up and down. Yeah, it's pretty easy. Thank you, Unity. And while this is just using your basic Unity assets, you can definitely spice this up by implementing this with your own UI designs. And I was going to show you how to set up a horizontal group, but it's basically the same exact thing, just using the horizontal functions and slight tweaks, so I challenge you to give that a try yourself. Thank you very much, guys, for watching. I hope this helped you out. You should now be able to scroll down through your list. It only takes like a few minutes to set up. Oh my god, I'm sorry, guys. I forgot I put my YouTube subscribe button in this list. I don't want you to get the wrong idea. I'm not a big self-promoting guy. Oh man, and there's also this like the video button.
Alright, so now we have this. Yeah, so then static event action on play button pressed. on player name. Ele dá signinho aqui. Depois no start. Hey, hey, how's it going? The Frobofo. Yay! Thanks for joining in, though. Yeah, so I'm working on this distributed authority with Netcode for Game Objects project, and the task that I'm working on now is to list the available sessions for distributed authority, which is not as easy as this sounds because distributed authority is not so documented, so much documented so far. So you can so I'm basically going off what I can find in the documentation. I was looking at this also. Basically, I found out that I can get the list of sessions here. The thing is that the distributed authority uses a different concept than relay lobby and matchmaking than regular game for Netcode for game objects use. So yeah, so I'm already able to get the list of sessions. If you look at the console here, not anymore, but yeah, which I created this little guy. Now I'm just yeah. So like if I play the game now, you're gonna see. You see that one of the logs when I. Oh, this is not supposed to. The game's supposed to open like this, and then you hit play. And when you hit play, you can see here sessions 0 because there's no sessions right now, right? So, for example, if I close this guy, so then if I start a session, yeah, you can see that you can see here a session started with one player, and then if I come in here and I click play, you can see that I have one session and the session name is default. So this is what I want to use, and I want to list these sessions over here, right on these buttons. That for now I just added them here. Just created this list based on a tutorial. So yeah, so I'm just doing that for now. I don't know if I'm gonna have time to finish this off everything by today. Hopefully I can do a little bit more work. So now what I was doing, I was creating a sessions demo UI. Network, yeah, man. Networking is network is the most complex part of any game development for sure. And I'm testing this new distributed authority model that Unity launched, but it's still in beta. So there's not a lot of documentation. There's no YouTube videos, nobody working with it yet. So we're kind of breaking ground over here. So yeah, I want to add this. Yeah, so for now I'm just gonna do this. So let's hide this guy. This. Duplicate this. No. Sessions text. No. No available sessions. And I can just do this here. Can just add a little color. This great. Super cool. Yeah, I dabbled with mirror a bit in the past, but it took me way too long to make a real progress. Yeah, dude. The thing is that with distributed authority, they actually made it a lot easier. Again, the documentation is not great yet, but if you go in here, you can really create a really small game with a quick start. It's not difficult at all, and this piece of documentation that you see here, it's actually not bad. The thing is that this is the only thing that exists, right? If you're gonna do Netcode for game objects, regular or mirror or fishnet or photon fusion or whatnot, you have 1,000 different tutorials, right? For this guy, you don't have anything yet, so it's kind of yeah. So it's a bit annoying, but we'll get there. yeah, so here, yeah. So first, let's just create a serialized field, private game object, no sessions, text, and sessions list. Scroll bar on private void start. Okay, for this I want, yeah, initially I want everything. I want this, I want it to look like this, and if I find something I show it, right? So that's, yeah, so no sessions text, scrollable sessions list, scroll bar. And okay, so now this is, so this is where I'm getting. Yeah, so this is where I'm getting the results. So session info. So then I'm gonna create another event here. Wait. Does this has any sort of, what was that? That was right here. Oh, here. Returns a task. All right. So for now, what I'm gonna do here is that I'm gonna create a internal static event action I session info. Actually, now if I look at this, I'm actually, I get the results, query. It's a list of session info. Oh, I can just get the results, query session results. I can just pass that. So query session results. So on sessions list updated. That's great. So now I'm just gonna create another internal. Oh crap. On session list updated, then I invoke this guy. So I pass it around. Okay. So now in here, I'm gonna print this, but I'm going to game results. Okay, so I call the method with the results, fine. And now in here, on awake, private void awake. Now destroy, private void on destroy. Yes. Now you implement this stuff. If so then here on if count equals 0, then I show this, then I show this. Private void update session list here, update session list. Okay, so the thing is that in here, so prefab UI button. Oh, shit. I just saw this message on YouTube. Roman, Chessman, hey. Sorry I missed your message. Yeah, I'm still getting a hang of this 2 streams though, but sometimes I miss some stuff. Yeah, it's kind of hard to keep track. I don't have the multi-stream chat here, so it's kind of damn. I'm already going on for 3 hours. Believe it or not, this is actually one of my longest streams. So what's going on here is that I'm actually going to test this. What's supposed to happen here is that this is supposed to happen. I don't know what just happened. Okay. Cool. Then I'm going to connect. Then no variable session text has been assigned. Let me. Talking about, man? What are you talking about? Sometimes you just need to close it. Yeah, for those that are joining now, I'm actually doing a project with Distributed Authority. I'm working on this little task, which is to list the available sessions available with Distributed Authority. Distributed Authority doesn't work with lobbies the same way that Network for Game Objects does. So it is a bit tricky, but so what's supposed to happen here is that I'm supposed to be able to create a session, and if so yes, no sessions available. Great. So I'm gonna create one. You're gonna see it popping up over here. One user. Great. You can log out. Awesome. Now I'm gonna connect with this other guy. Yay! And if I click, session default clicked. This is real progress, guys. Believe it or not, this is real progress. So now all I need to do here is so what I'm doing here, when I'm doing a multiplayer, I actually have this function, which I'm gonna copy and paste it for now. No, actually I don't need it because I'm on the same namespace. Great. I know, I can just make this a public function. And in here, I can just uncomment this and just generate. No, it's yeah, I would need an instance of that guy. So yeah, for now I don't want to deal with this now, so I'm just gonna copy this. Later on I'll move this into some utilities. Yeah, I think it's 12. So now I'm doing basically the same thing. I can just do this. I don't have access to that. Yeah, I'll just the UI. Yeah. For now, I just want to call this guy because this is gonna do the same thing that this is doing. The session name, and it should trigger the connection. And if that works, that's awesome. Let's see. So again, for those that are joining again, we're working with distributed authority here. The task that we're working on is to be able to list the available options, available sessions that we have. And distributed authority is this model, this networking model that Unity launched on that last Unite. It's not very well documented, but it's getting there. The thing is that, like, okay, no available sessions. That is great. So I start a session. We're gonna see a session here. It's connecting here. Great. Awesome. Good stuff. So now if we go in here and I hit play, it updates. And now if I click here, it should connect to the session. Boom. There you go. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Now, tomorrow, we're going to try to make that work with WebGL, which is not as easy as it sounds. Either way, I'm going to commit this code for now. We added a bunch of stuff in here. There's a lot of code that we wrote, which is amazing. Moved some things around, created a bunch of stuff. So I'm just gonna successfully listing available sessions. Awesome. That's it. That's it for today, guys. I am done. It's past midnight. I have to wake up early tomorrow, so I think this is really good progress for today. We almost killed this. There's still some UI and like cosmetics that we need to do to get this done, but this is some really good progress. Tomorrow maybe I also want to tackle some like UI stuff. Like I want to add like collectibles to the player, so the player can pick up collectibles and stuff and things like that. But I think we're getting there with this distributed authority, and I'm really happy of where we are. And yeah, so again, well, thanks everyone for joining. Don't forget to like and subscribe, both on YouTube and Twitch. And that's it, I guess.